Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the inventory routes and rules. And my name is Hamid. I'm from BitIglo. We are a Odoo partner in Germany, and our focus is on inventory and MRP, so manufacturing. Not only these two, but also project and services, as well as accounting, German accounting. So this is the QR code for the pad for the Q&A session, so please scan it. If you miss it, don't worry, it's also on every page. The agenda is that we will have just a very short intro, then we will just take some real cases. These real cases are either from our previous projects or leads that we had, and then at the end I will give you some useful tips. We all know inventory is complex. Generally, supply chain management is complex, and we always have in every project something that we have to just tackle, and then we have to struggle with that. So inventory is really a key in every project that we have, let's say, supply chain management in it. This is actually one diagram that I use a lot in the projects, and because it clarifies what is the, let's say, inventory process in the company. This is actually in the Odoo documentation. You can just download it or take a screenshot or whatever, and you can just sketch it. The point is that you'd rather sketch these things, and with your customer is, let's say, convinced, and it is clarified for your customer, for your team. Transparency is there, so this is very helpful. I do recommend to use this. So now let's check from real cases. There are 3 cases. We have simplified these cases because of the complexity. And these cases, the first one is simple. The second one has a medium complexity, and the third one is a little complex. But as I said, we have just simplified it so that it's easier for the presentation. So in the case 1, we have 2 warehouses, and we would like to move the products from warehouse 1 to the warehouse 2. And the complexities are that we have in the both warehouses, they have a 3-step delivery and a 4-step receipt. So one of the complexities is the 4-step receipt, and the other one that we had to do it without any sale order or purchase order. This actually is not difficult. This is easy. So let's take a look what we have done for the 4th step. So we just created a new route, as you see we have here, and then we also added some new operation types. We usually add these new operation types because it's easier. In Odoo standard, it's always the internal transfers. However, we usually recommend to have, let's say, separated operation types so that it's easier for a user. And then what we have done for the complexity of doing this without a sale order or purchase order is that it's very easy. You just go to the warehouse 2, and then you have this option here, and when you activate this option, Odoo will automatically generate some new routes for your inventory, and then in the next step you can just simply use the replenishment or the reordering rule, and then set up your, select your product, the location, and the route which is actually created and generated by Odoo, which is here, you can see, and then at the end just order it once. That's it. It's very simple. This will be the result. As you see in the warehouse 1, we have 3 steps, delivery and the 4-step receipts, and all of them, they are waiting because this one needs to be first, let's say, processed. So now let's go to the case 2. This is also a nice case. We didn't have manufacturing, and the customer didn't want to have manufacturing. And the case, what we have to do is that we have to deliver a computer set in just one single pack. So what is a computer set? It consists of a laptop, a monitor, and a keyboard and a mouse. We just consider the monitor, keyboard, and mouse as an accessory and just a laptop. And the goal is that the problem here was that the laptop needed an installation before packing. So during the inventory process, the inventory guy had to just install something on the laptop and then pack it. So this was a nice case that we had. And the complexities were no manufacturing app, so we couldn't use kit or whatever or manufacturing. And also only the laptop had an extra step. So how we solved it, I mean, all of them at once. So we created a new installation route. And here we choose, we use the pool rules. Very important and very good tip from my side. Whenever you have pool rules, always start reading from the last line and explain it to yourself, and start reading from here and tell yourself, okay, this means when there is a need in the customer location, we have to fulfill the need from this location, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. So in this way you will understand what you need to do and how you can configure your routes, instead of reading it from first line, reading it from last line. Then this was one of the other topics, so we just added the product categories, and then we selected this route specifically for that product category. So what happened is that this is actually our sale order. Very important point here is what we have done in the sale order. Under the other information, we selected this option. What I'm going to point out here is that you don't have only the options of routes and rules, you have other options. Thanks to Odoo, you have many options that you need to configure them all together to fulfill your requirements, to meet your requirements or the requirements of your project. And the outcome is actually that we will have 5 deliveries. Let's see why 5. So here, these are actually the 5s, and I would like to go not from the top, but one by one. This is actually one peak that we have to do for just the accessories. Then we will have another peak only for the laptop, so it is somehow separated because the locations are different. If you see, I'm sorry, then wait. So here I am, sorry. So if you see here, the locations are different, and here it is from stock to the installation, there it is stock to the packing zone. And then the next step will be that we will have the installation on the laptop. So this is also another step, another move that we had to have. And then at the end, all of these, I mean, they will go all 4 lines in one move. So this is actually what we were also expecting. So if you also see here, the status, this one is ready, but these one are waiting for another operation. This is because of that option that we activated or checked, set to true, and the other information on sale order. So now let's go to the case 2. It's case 3, I'm sorry. Case 3, I mean, it looks very simple, but it is a little difficult. Why? I mean, the simplicity is that, okay, we have a sale order, we have actually a drop ship scenario. The sale order comes, we will create an PO automatically as well, and then we will just send this via dropship. The vendor will send it to the customer. This is perfect. However, our case was a little difficult because in the return process, the product had to be returned to us and not to the vendor. And then we had to send it to the manufacturer and not the vendor. And then the vendor at the same time had to send the dropship to the customer. And this was also another complex scenario that we had, and it was happening often, not just because of a faulty product, it was just a process that they had, and we had to configure, found let's say, an automated way or process to do it. So the complexities were returning to the stock, sending to the manufacturer, and also replacing it, yeah? And how we solved it? So the first solution, return to stock. We created a new operation type, and we called it return of dropship. And then we selected the use existing ones, because when it is returned, we have to use that existing serial numbers and do not create a new serial number. And then we had the default source locations as customer and then the stock. And then the next step, what we have done, this is also very important. On dropship operation, we selected the operation type. This operation type that we just recently created, we just added here on the return type of the dropship. Just a hint, in case it is invisible, you can just make this field visible via Odoo Studio or just very simple inheritance view. It's very easy. um, then sending to manufacturer and replace it. What we have done is that we have created a new route. This time our routes, they have the push rules, as you see here. And the push means that, okay, when it comes to stock, create a new move, and then from stock to the manufacturers, and then when it comes to the manufacturer location, then create a new move from manufacturers to the customers. We also use the already existing drop operation types because it was easier. And what we have done here is also, in order to automate the process, we have used the manufacturer here also for dropship. However, with just a very simple automated action, we just changed this location to the to the vendor location with just an automated action later during the process. Then, as you just saw, we also had a new location, which is the manufacturer. However, we just selected the location type as an inventory loss. This is mainly because of two reasons. One of them was that we didn't want to have the inventory valuation here, and also the demand and then the delivered quantity, they had to match. So that's why we also selected this location type as an inventory loss. And what we have done is we just added this route to that specific product that they had. I mean, we can also add it to the product category. This is also working. So then what was the result? So after return, when we have the dropship, we will just click on return. We have also this location here, a stock location, because we created that new operation type as the return of that dropship operation type. And then this is what will happen after clicking on that return. We will have two dropships. One of them was the first one. The other one is the automatically created one. And then we will have also another two moves here, as you see. So let's just check. This is the first one. And this is what we have done in the first step that we had. And this is the second dropship that we automatically created. And we also used the automated actions here just to change the locations. As I said, simply very simple automated actions. And then regarding these two deliveries or moves, what we have, we also use just a little automated actions as well. Here there is a point how we found out the manufacturer. There is already one very nice OCA module, manufacturer information, I think it is called, that you can just install, and it will give you not only the manufacturer but also some other fields for the use for manufacturer. But if you don't want to install that, just simply it's just an create a new field, REST partner, and then it will work. So you can just select the manufacturer on the product, and then we automated it to select the manufacturer according to that, let's say, our location here. And then this one is also the return, as we see that it's also ready. We just clicked on return, but we didn't process. And this one is waiting for another operation, simply because it is actually using the same serial number. And in dropship, it is ready simply because we can add a new serial number. This is exactly what they wanted. And then after processing the above, this will be actually our correct demand and delivered quantity. And this is exactly what they were expecting in the project. So now I would like to give you some useful tips. Now we are just about the routes. Always try to use Odoo standard ones. Try to convince your customers to use them to keep the, as much as possible, stay and to the standard. And if not possible, please do not edit the Odoo standard routes. If it is a must that you have a new scenario, please create a new route. This is simply because, I mean, we had cases that, I don't know, for example, we had a two-step delivery, and then after a while we changed it because they had a very specific case, and then after 2-3 months, no one knew what has happened before. There was another person at the customer side, and then one day they decided to change it to the 3-step delivery, and then it didn't work. The rule that we had added, it was just archived simply because Odoo will just overwrite and archive the other ones and just will add, let's say, the new initial data. And very, very important point from my side is before implementing, draw the routes, draw these rules. This is very important. I really love this diagram. I really, really love diagram. I don't know who has created this in Odoo, but this is a very, very important diagram, and it's a key. It's the key in every project. If you don't draw it, you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to configure it. Draw this diagram for yourself, for your team, and for your customer, and then everyone knows what's going to happen, yeah, with that, products, yeah. Now some tips about rules. I mean, in every step, think always where is the need. If you can find the need, if you can find the source of the need, and then how you can fulfill it. And if you ask yourself this question, you can easily clarify if you need a pull rule or if you need a push rule, so how to configure this. Then try to have separate operations for each rule. Do not miss the return process. This was also another case that we had. The delivery was perfectly working, and then no one thought about the return process, how it would be. And then the supply method, don't miss it. Take it from a stock or trigger another rule. I mean, these are things that you have to think about, and you shouldn't miss them because it will change the behavior. And last but not least, I mean, some tips about the multi-company. Please select the right locations and operations. Please do not name them exactly the same, and both warehouses, they have exactly the same name. Partners, sometimes, I mean, we had cases that it messed up everything. And the last 2 points, they are somehow related to each other. I mean, assigning a route to a specific company is not always a must. I mean, you should not always assign that specific route to a specific company. But the rule, sure. I mean, not the route, but the rule, please try to assign or dedicate that specific rule to the specific company. This will just simplify. I mean, you can just see it also in Odoo standard. The buy route is for all companies, but the rules, they are actually for each specific company. Thank you very much. This was from my side, and this is again the QR code for the pad if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So we do have small questions, but it was clear actually. About the case 2, any specific configuration needed for last picking where all product was in it's not separated, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that was the option that we selected under other information in the sale order. I don't know if I can just okay, I just turn it off. There we just said that, okay, move all of them when everything is ready. I mean, shipping when every product is ready. That was actually the key. That was one of the options. What I wanted today to mention is that not just the routes and rules, they are not your only options. Always think about the other options. We had another case with automated batching per contact, which helps also in some cases.
Okay. Another question is, how do you keep an overview if the customer has, like, for example, 20 routes with like 60 rules or more in it? How do you keep a clean overview on that?
I mean, I don't know in which view we would like to have this overview. Yeah. However, I think, yeah, you can just manage it with some filtering and grouping. But yeah, I can understand such a kind of number is huge, but yeah. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
No, for sure. Another question is about the diagram that you like. Someone here was not able to understand it, so can you maybe quickly review it, how to read it as well? I think it was this one.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this says that, I mean, right now here, as you see, if there is a need in the customer location, then take it from a stock, but trigger another rule. I mean, you can see it here. If there's nothing in the stock, then trigger another rule. What it will do, it will just trigger another rule, which will be actually the picking of the components and then also the manufacturing. These two manufacturing, it is because in this example, we have two levels of manufacturing. We have two BOMs, one inside another one. That's why it is a little more complex. But the key is that you have to just read it exactly as it is here. I mean, just read the pull and then the push. I think it is more complex than just explaining it in 1 minute, then after the talk we can just also, I'm there, I'm outside, and then we can talk, and yeah,
So
I can show it to you.
don't hesitate to ask a question directly as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We do have another question about the dropship, where someone is asking if you ever have the case that one of your customers didn't want the address of the vendor to appear on the delivery papers. If so, how can this be solved?
Again.
So your customer didn't want the address of the vendor to appear on the deliveries slip. So how can this be solved?
Yeah, I mean, if
For him to know that it's a dropship, actually, I think.
uh-huh. Okay, if it is actually in all cases, what I would do, I will just, I will just create a new view, inherit the view, and then I will just add some if conditions, and according to that saying that, okay, do not show that according to what condition that we would like. I mean, just simply doing with a very small coding, you can handle it.
Another question is how to configure an automatic merge on the manufacturing orders and the purchase orders, and how to keep them separated. An automatic merge.
I didn't understand. I didn't quite understand.
Sure.
Yeah, automatic merge of the manufacturing and then POs.
Purchase orders, yeah.
I mean, if the person is here, then we can talk afterwards. If not, then I think I can also maybe chat with him also in the pad, and then we can find a solution.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And let me check. One of the last questions is what is meant by propagation of procurement group?
Okay, propagation. We had, for example, one example that I can mention is that sometimes the customer will send only once per day. But there are lots of orders, and they are just merging everything, and then they are sending it at once. And in such cases, we will use, for example, leave it empty and do not propagate every time. But the propagate, it means that for every time it will just generate a new procurement group. And but the leave empty, it means that just create once and then use it for further cases. And then there is another option which was for a fixed, let's say, propagation, that you say that, okay, always choose this, move this, let's say, picking for all the cases. This is actually the definition of the propagation. Yeah.
And we do have time for one last question. Is can you configure a route to allow some reception to go directly to the stock and others go to the quality check?
Again.
So can you configure a route to allow some receipt to go directly to stock while other will go to a quality check before going to the stock?
Yes, I think you can handle it. The only point is that what are the conditions to separate them, and then you can handle that. I mean, this is not hard. This is somehow similar to what we have done with that sending the computer pack. It's also like that, but we have to exactly see the case, but with conditions you can handle that. Yeah, okay. For sure.
Perfect, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. I will stay here whenever anyone has questions, and I can answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.